Today's horror story is written by MortifyMore. She walks down the midnight road, looking the part. Seconds earlier, she stood off to the side of the road, a silver figure waiting for something lost to the past, waiting for a moment of a kind stranger's time, the sign for me to stop my car and wait out of respect. She's been waiting far longer than me. She walks, a torn dress paler than her skin, hair like the shadow of willows, unswaying in the wind-laced darkness, only visible in my parked brights. I can't see the red stain of her corroded throat from this distance, but I know it's there. Between the matted Stygian strands, clutched by decades-old moss and dirt, I think she's looking at me. Maybe not. She's not supposed to be giving me her ghostly gaze. Not yet. And before I can look through the window, see if the gaze of death pierces the glass, she's in the back seat, invisible if you ask the rearview mirror. And in this way, I know it's begun. I reach past the steering wheel and reset the mileage. Over 200,000 in total. 10 last trip. Now, just 0. Where are you headed to? My voice comes out as a cloud of cold in the summer's stagnant air. She points without shaking. A direct command she's practiced for years and years. Always down the road, into the darkness. The tip of her chipped dirt nibbling nail just within my peripheral. I don't make the mistake of looking back at her. I just start the car and head in the direction of decrepit wishes. Catalina Rosa, the pale lady of Route 4. It's nice to finally meet you. You might not believe this, but I'm here to help you. I promise. I figure since I know all about you, it's only polite you know about me. My name's Barley Jones. I am 64 years old and I struggle with impulsive decisions. Kind of why I'm here. Never grew out of them, I'm afraid. I'm married to the lovely Linda Jones, an impulse that I have never regretted. And together we thought long and hard and had a daughter named Marlene. Marlene Joy Jones. She grew up to be a beautiful 8-year-old girl. Loved drawing flowers and ghosts and things I still can't figure out. She was murdered. Just like you. She doesn't say a word, isn't even listening. This is all part of the act, her sitting there silent and foreboding. All she needs is you to be talking, asking her why she's all messed up, why she's out here by herself, or so people think. In reality, she doesn't care. Couldn't even begin to. She needs the talking, sure. It's how she knows you're engaged enough to take her where she wants to be. Where she thinks she wants to be, that is. She's too focused on her goal, on the game. A timer's going in her ethereal head, ticking down the seconds we have together. Only alarming when certain criteria are met. I can talk all night, well, not quite, and she won't care what words I say or why my eyes are starting to wet. The only rule now is I can't turn around, and that's fine with me. You may not know this, or maybe you do. I'm not entirely sure what all you can see on that side, but back in my day, I was a pretty good detective. Solved the catnap killer back in '72, you know. Turned out to be an ex-cop who kept his radio. Always knew where to be and where not to be and attacked neighborhoods he'd surveilled earlier. He wound up killing himself in jail. It was his son, who never believed it was his father who could have hurt those women, that killed my Marlene, nearly 12 years after I retired. He didn't make it hard to find him. And to be honest, I don't know how to feel about that. I could tell you all about it. I really want to, but I don't think there's enough time. I don't plan on doing this again with you, dear. My point is, there were a lot of victims without closure. Even with the guy known and dead, there's still something missing. Still things to do. Things that haunt long after their inception. The section of road is bordered by thick trees, endless foliage. If your car choked, you'd be walking several miles before the next street lamp in town. And God save you if you even try going through the woods. High above, the white moon is coming down in a full circle. But a fog has rolled in, so best I get is a murky veil, the shade of a moth's flutter. The dashboard tells me I've hit the 3rd mile already. You know, a year ago I probably wouldn't be here. Wouldn't be thinking about doing something like this. But it's funny how grief does stuff to you. How the slightest lack of closure makes a man do the things he does. The last thing I ever heard about her was that I'd never find the body. Not without help. His words. His name he laughed out on the last day in court. And help. Well, help went and got himself killed in jail. Child killers locked up is a different kind of justice. And I guess some people find solace in stuff like that. But so far it hasn't done anything. And Linda, God, I think I've been driving so much to make up for her lack of it. We grieve in different ways, I know. And I've driven and stomped and dug and sobbed all over looking for my little girl. Nothing. Sometimes, maybe you haven't done this, but I sure have. You look up at the stars and wonder, why? I still don't have an answer. Don't think I ever will. I know looking back at her will only break the ritual. Will only result in her ghastly visage fading forever. No second chances. But there's a need to look death in the face. Look and see if anything can be revealed, and eyes touched by dirt. Eyes lost of luster. I keep on driving though. Keep speeding up as mile 6 shivers into life. If you could wonder, you'd ask yourself what I'm doing here. And I tell you, Catalina, it's a promise. Marlene loved ghost stories. She loved them because she always empathized with the ghosts. Always told me how she understood why they haunted places and why people kept talking about them. That all the real ghost stories seemed to be about pain. And that pain, despite coming from the departed, it was something the living could feel too. She was a real smart girl. I don't know how she wound up to be mine, because I sure didn't have those thoughts at her age. Didn't even have them a year ago. She told me she wanted to find ghosts when she grew up. Wanted to find people, because she still saw them as people, and help put them to rest. They're just lost souls, not lost causes. She said that, and we should help because the living can feel that same relief, that same happiness as if you helped a friend or neighbor. And this is something I've come to realize. When things are put right for others, you feel a bit more whole too, no matter how broken everything feels. Mile 7 comes and I brace myself. Instinctually, let go of the gas and get ready to slam the brakes. The road is empty. Empty. Then she's there. Not in my backseat, but in the road, hair blocking her face still, but I know she's staring at me now. We've hit that threshold. If I keep driving, not even brake, she won't come back. It's an admission of abandonment, but here, now with the shriek of the brake pads, I let her know. No, we're not finished yet. That to me, she's still alive enough to not run over. That she's a person, not a story. The car buckles right at the edge of her dress. It's close, but I haven't touched her pallid ethereal flesh. I close my eyes and take a deep breath. And when I open them, she's not on the road. She's changed again to her final act. She's sitting in the passenger seat, glaring at me, glaring at a man that was there the night she died. I floor the gas. I'm surprised when she moves as quickly as my foot, but we're not here to waste time. She's reaching out, witchbone-twisted fingers and nails sharpened in the afterlife to slice souls. But she doesn't dig her dirt-encrusted nails into me. Instead, she wraps them around my neck, sending searing pain up to my jaw down my collarbone. It's everything the usual stories tell you, that the grip of the dead is cold, beyond winter, the chill in the shadows of space. But rage is an inferno, the fires of hell, the burning wrath of God. Her justice is to boil, blister, heat, and burst the breath out of the mortal cage. And all I can do is look at the dashboard through flooded, squinted eyes. Mile 9. Her scalding fingers burning with the fury that only the dead can spill forth, wrapped tighter around my throat, and I can feel my skin churn, twist to flee her paradoxical storm of fire and ice. I can't help but wheeze out a laugh. Another stream of icy breath in this contradictory ride for the living and the dead. She wants me to look over at her. She's right by my face, mouth open, silent, always silent, screaming, demanding I look my killer in her dreaming fish eyes, see the flecks of begotten mud smashed into her flesh. She's giving me more than she got, a chance to see the giver of my red throat. And before the dashboard's alien glow fades away, fades to the dark, lost highway where girls go to die and men leave monsters, I glimpse mile 10 flicker into existence with its green analog clock form. I turn the steering wheel to the left so hard I think even her grip loosens in shock. I've practiced this hundreds of times in previous hours. So many, I wonder if even she knows. If she's been watching and taking tally from behind the dark oaks. A thin smile on her face because she knows I never break my promises. Her hands are still on my neck, but they're lighter. The heat from a glowing stovetop. My neck, the child's hand just inches away from a lesson. And I know another touch from her will slide into the blistering flesh. Anywhere else on the ground would be jostling the both of us, making me lose this game of operation. But here, where a man a half-century ago drove through, is a hidden road. Flattened for a use only the spiders and beetles and worms know. I'm still laughing. I can't help it. And every vibration of the throat tickles me with heat in an awful way. And we drive like this for a minute or two, deeper into the thicket where the calls of owls go unheard, where the mushrooms doubt the existence of the moon. And then we stop where the road ends into a flat space, and I exhale. She's not holding my neck, isn't even in the car. She's outside the car in front, looking down at the ground. I pop the trunk, fetch the shovel from inside, meeting her echo right there in the blast of the headlights. I start digging. I dig until the earth makes a good pile in the event horizon of the forest's collective shadow. I dig until something races down my chin and onto the ground, and I can't tell if it's sweat or tears. I dig until the sharp color of white, so clear even with all that dirt, looks back at me from the earth. I don't stop until she's all there. No chance for her to hide in the unmarked grave. Pale bones nestled in a dress the color of snow and blood and dirt. So this is where he did it. Catalina stands there and stands there. And a million miles away, I think I hear somebody, a beautiful woman, say thank you. And Catalina starts falling face down into herself, her black hair diminishing into the dark night to join the space between the stars beyond the canopy. She turns from ghast to bone, from memory to reality, and all goes quiet. I reach down, pick her up, cradle her to the car, and set her gently in the seat behind me. The entire time, not seeing Catalina, but Marlene. And I'm crying those 20 steps to the car. I lay her down and tell her I'm sorry. Sit back in front of the glowing dashboard and look into the rear view to see she's still there. My little girl is still there asleep in the back seat, holding a crayon drawing of her hand in hand with all the ghosts she'll save. All the ghosts she has saved. And then I reverse, turn around, and go. Go to a future I've promised